Hello, welcome everyone to Black Professionals Month 2021. Today we have Jerome Hutchinson Jr. He's from the he is the visionary and the co-founder of Black Professional Month BPM. And give me a second, guys, because I can barely see my screen. I do apologize for that. An unprecedented annual interactive throughout October, recognizing Black professionals excellent worldwide. BPM will also converse Black professionals to building strong collaborations, greater roles of leadership, and substantial wealth. When BPM ends, Hutchinson has enabled its value and benefits to continue through the ICABA World Network, a trustworthy online economic system for over 13,000 plus Black professionals and entrepreneurs. Mr. Hutchinson, founder and chief servant officer, the ICABA World Network, a technology and marketing company that has developed the world's leading online economic system dedicated to assisting Black professionals and entrepreneurs in achieving their career, businesses, and lifestyle appreciations. The ICABA enhance the careers and business growth of Black professionals with the development key relationships and the sharing of value, information, and opportunities.
Thank you, Connie. I appreciate that introduction. And I am glad to see everybody here. And this is the Black Professionals Month version of the Faith Works Friday that we've been doing for close to a year now. And hope that this won't be your last time, that you'll come back and share with us again. So today we're going to be talking about basically something that is, I think, one of the most powerful things that we can do in order to achieve success in our career. And it could be your business in terms of what you're doing professionally, or you may be working for someone. But the key is having a partner. And so today we're going to be talking about, are you as fired up? Sorry, about what exactly that partner should look like, who that partner should be, and how that partner is going to really help you to be successful in what it is that you're doing. So I'm going to share my screen again, and give me just a second, and we will pop on in here. So there we go. So I initially titled this, Don't Go It Alone, Embrace God as Your Partner. And so as I was preparing for today, I decided that I needed to modify that title a little bit. So as you see from the screen, instead of now embracing God as your partner, I changed it to embracing God as your managing partner, because we are not equal to God, and God is how we are led. And so I thought it was more appropriate to put God in an elevated position to us, and that would put him in the right position as it relates to our lives. So one of the things about embracing God as your managing partner is first really thinking about what is your purpose. A lot of people say, well, how do I figure out what my purpose is? Well, your purpose is designed, defined, and developed and given to you as a gift from God. Your gift that determines your purpose has to do with those things that typically you will find that you are naturally good at, that you naturally enjoy, and that other people may say, hey, you know, you are really good. You're a great cook. You're a great mathematician. You really know numbers. You have a phenomenal memory. You have a great way of serving. You have a great way of making people feel good about themselves. Everybody has a unique gift that you receive from God. That gift and talent that God has given you, that if you use those gifts and talents will make your way before kings and queens. When we walk in our purpose and we operate based on God's gifts, there is really nothing that you want to accomplish because you are now in alignment with what your managing partner has designed for you to do. So today, one of the things I want to stop before I go any further and say that, I love a interactive, engaging type of presentation. So I encourage you that if there's anything that you want to add, that you want to say as I go along, don't worry about interrupting me. If I forget it, it's on the screen, so I'll be able to kind of keep my place. But I really do appreciate and enjoy the engagement. I also want to say thank you for being on screen. There is a great, if you will, comfort that comes when you're doing a virtual event and you're not looking at a bunch of placards with people's names on it, but you can actually see the people. I mean, we're already virtual, so that really helps out a lot. So I want to thank those of you that I can see on screen, and obviously with the PowerPoint up, I don't have a full screen, but everybody I see right now has their camera on, and I want to say thank you. And we also do this as well to help people to be able to create a more interactive, engaging environment amongst the people who are here. So going back to purpose and God's gifts, I read something once. There is a great pastor from the Bahamas, and he talked about how God, kind of creates an owner's manual for those things that he creates, including human beings. And raise your hand if you've ever tried to put something together and you didn't use the instructions, the directions of the owner's manual. I see Carl leaning back. Raise your hand. I think we've all been there, right? Or, maybe you were reading the first couple of pages and you kind of feel like, oh, I got this. And so, you put it down and you keep on going. And then you get to about, where you think you're almost done and something doesn't look right. Or you get done and there's a part left. And you're like, wait a minute, why is this part left? And it's because you did not follow the directions. You did not follow the owner's manual. So when God gives you a gift, which defines your purpose, that is, in essence, him giving you the owner's manual. That owner's manual is further outlined in the things that he gives you in the Bible and through devotion and so on. One of the reasons why we have to embrace God as our managing partner and not go it alone. And when I say not going it alone, sometimes I hear people say, man, all I can do is pray now. Or they'll say something similar like, well, I guess I better just try to pray for you. And we say it sometimes as if like that's a last resort. Like, okay, everything else, we tried. Well, I guess we'll try God, because I can't do anything else. Well, see, that's the problem sometimes. We try God first. God is the first option. He is not the last resort. He is not, there for desperation. Because if you are operating in your relationship with God, you don't get desperate. If you have faith, then you do not walk in fear, because fear and faith do not coexist together. So when you are aligned and you are walking in your purpose, you are utilizing the gifts that you have, and you are believing in God to be your managing partner, you realize that all things are possible and that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. One of the things that we talk about a lot these days is, what's your why? Well, undoubtedly, your why is a function in many ways of why you personally, individually, within the world, this is what I'm doing. But when you tie your why back to the designer, back to the creator, back to the producer, then you realize that your why is tied to how you were created and how you are purposed. And so then one of the next things that you have to do is understand, as I go along day in and day out, who is it that I'm really trying to please? Generally speaking, most people are trying to please themselves. You know, you've got individual objectives, you have things that you like, that you want to do, where you want to go, people you want to meet. And it's all about those things that are what you want and what you desire. However, when you have God as your managing partner, you are not trying to please you first, you are trying to please God first. And when we do that, then God's measure will then be given to us in the form of grace. One of the greatest things that you get in order to survive in this life and thrive is grace. One of the things we know in the model prayer, we ask God to forgive us as we forgive others. And if you've read your Bible, you know when you say, well, God, how many times do I, forgive others? And 7 times 70, you get grace as you give grace. Who are you trying to please with what you do? You may do something out of your own spirit, but if that spirit is not tied to pleasing God, then it's going to be about you. But when it's tied to pleasing God, God will bless you with his grace. And the measure of that grace is the gift of Christ. And you can't get any greater gift than that. Grace is the empowerment we get when God is our partner. I'm going to, give me a second, I think. Yeah, forgive me, I have a slide out of place. One of the keys to experiencing God as a part in your life, is the fact that you can depend on God's grace. And in the world, we hustle and grind. And there is a book called Grace Over Grind that I took this passage from that I really like. And in this book, it talks about in the world in terms of what we do, hustle and grind. We celebrate it through expressions we've all heard, seen them. I'm gonna rise and grind. I'm on team no sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I hustle hard, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that is not how you really are going to thrive. And particularly once you decide to make God your managing partner. When God becomes your managing partner, you don't have to just strive endlessly to make things happen, with the dream God has placed on your heart for your business or for your career. You simply need God's empowering presence, and everything else is going to flow from there. I have a friend, Don Watts, and we've had several conversations. And one of the things that, we both share in terms of having God as a managing partner, and that I've heard her say on several occasions, when she knows that when she's operating in her gift and she's walking in alignment with God, things just work out, And when we realize that we are really not in control of this thing that we call life, that life is controlled by God. And so that if we let God be God and kind of get out of God's way and follow his word, work in our gifts, fulfill the purpose that he has designed us for, his grace comes along with that, and it is empowering. It will enable you to successfully do what God has called you to do and do what you could never do on your own. And it's by that grace that you will be able to do extraordinary things and have supernatural results and eternal impact through your business and through your career. How many times have we seen someone, whether it was in the Bible, or you kind of look at life and you see someone who has accomplished something, and that maybe they became a champion at something, maybe they became the head of something, maybe they received an award, and they talk about they thank God for giving them either the talent, the gift, the strength, the ability to accomplish, what they did. Hardly anybody that accomplishes anything of greatness does that on its own. Now, there are those people who are non-believers, and there are those people who don't give God the glory. So I can't say that's an absolute all the time. But I think we've all had enough experiences in life to know that more times than not, those who are having great success many times give honor to God for the success that they have. Are they saying it because it's just maybe something that is politically correct? Are they saying it because it's a branding statement for them? I don't think so. The longer I've lived in this life, and the more people who are accomplished and successful that I've met, more and more and more of them will tell you, sometimes without you even asking, that their success is a function of their relationship with God. So the question is, who are you counting on? Are you counting on your banker? Are you counting on your boss? Are you counting on your agent? Are you counting on your talents and your strengths and so on? There's times when I don't care how smart you are, how talented you are. It just seems that sometimes things, they just don't seem to get any traction, and you find yourself trying to figure out what's wrong. What I would say to you from the very start, are you operating in your gift according to your purpose? Are you walking in alignment? Is your managing partner, being brought in for consultation on a regular basis? Like, hey, how about each day where I talk to my managing partner before my day starts to make sure that we're both in alignment and my managing partner is with me? Do I talk to my managing partner throughout the day? Not just for the big things, for the little things. Before I started this presentation today, I said, God, please be with me. Let your words come through me. Let the glory go to you. Bring God with you as your managing partner. I don't want to anymore rely on my talent, my strength, my hard work, my focus, my perseverance, because I've got to tell you guys, it comes up short compared to God's grace. And so as God says to you, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. When God tells us to embrace our weaknesses, that is counterintuitive to what we would do normally as individual human beings. Humanity doesn't really embrace weakness at all. But when we are walking in alignment, when we are walking according to our purpose, and we have our relationship on lock with our managing partner, we realize is that when we are weakest is when he shows up strongest. So when you are challenged, when you are questioned, when they doubt you, if you doubt yourself, understand those are moments of weakness. Realize that in that moment, without you even asking, God is showing up. And if you ask for him, his showing up will become more omnipresent and clear in your life. Because one of the things that we learn about God, God does not show up shouting. He doesn't show up smacking you upside the head to let you know that he's there. There's no big neon light flashing. Hey, it's God, your managing partner's here. No, he shows up in a whisper. He shows up, and sometimes you don't even know it's him. Somehow things worked out. Somehow, I share a story that some years ago, going through some financial challenges at the time, I was going on a trip. And before I was going on this trip, my daughter's tuition was due in school. And her college tuition, as you can imagine, we all know what that can be like for a private out-of-state school, was rather high. And I'm like, okay, I'm going on this trip, going on a cruise actually. And if I pay my daughter's tuition, it's going to leave me very little for this trip that I'm going on. So I decided that I was going to do the right thing, and I paid my daughter's tuition. I had sent an invoice to a client that had recently contracted to do business with me on Monday. It is now Friday, and I'm going to the mailbox to pick up the mail. When I got to the mailbox, I had a check from that client who I invoiced and mailed the invoice on Monday. Now, if that's not grace, if that's not God's strength showing up at a time that I was in a position of weakness, I don't know what is. Because if there's any business people on the line today, I don't think we send invoices to people on a Monday and we get a printed paper check back in the mail on Friday very, very often. We're talking about something that was truly an extraordinary situation. And when I paid my daughter's tuition, I didn't really know how things were going to work out. But there was a peace that I had about it and a calmness that I had about it. Because I just said, well, God, count on you to make this work out. I have no idea how you're going to do it. Dr. Martin Luther King says that faith is taking the first step when you can't see the rest of the staircase. So your partner, when you have faith in your managing partner and you have belief, that grace will be there. One of the things about when you decide that you're going to take on everything that in terms of responsibility for making things happen and not utilize and have a managing partner named God, is that you will find yourself just kind of working. And not that, within yourself, you cannot have success. I don't suggest that at all. But would you rather have the kind of success that also comes with peace, comfort, and knowing that whenever you're going to, hit a challenge, hit a wall, stumbling block, an obstacle, that you've got somebody always with you. I've learned now, there were times when if I had a problem, I think about, man, who could I call to talk to about this? I don't do that anymore. I just pray. I still talk to people about circumstances, situations, but the first thing that I do, my first, if you will, not last resort, not desperation move, but my first move is to pray about it, because I know that anybody who I talk to after that, I've already gone to God and said, God, this is what I need. And this is the help that I need. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Please help me. And I have to be humble enough to ask for God's help. And today I'm the most humble guy that I know. And I know that once I've done that, whoever I talk to after that is going to be somebody that God has put into my life at the right time in the right position to be able to pour something into me that's going to help me to accomplish what it is that I'm doing. There is a supernatural realm that all too often we fail to tap into because we're too busy grinding, running fast and furious to accomplish as much as possible and as quickly as possible. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in that particular trap. As we continue to work through life, we know that the challenges that are going to come. I haven't met anybody that hasn't gone through something. And one of the things that happens as we experience life, and if you're paying attention and you are reflecting on the things that happen to you in your life, you will begin to gain wisdom. You also will begin to gain more confidence in your managing partner. One of the reasons why it's important for us to not only do that for ourselves, but many of us are parents. And when it comes to our children, all too often as they grow, I've got two young ladies. One is 29 and one is 23. So they're now, they're adults and they are young women and they're all pursuing their career. Both of them live in LA. I'm way on the other side of the world, so to speak, on the East Coast, and they're on the West Coast. And I don't worry about my children. I don't worry about them for a couple of reasons. One is because I gave them and I've given them everything that I have that I can give them and continue to do that. But two, I gave them the most important gift that I could give them, and that was introduce them to a relationship with God. Secondly, I've demonstrated to them when daddy, has hit a wall, when daddy has run into an obstacle, daddy is not, one of those daddies who will just like, okay, daddy's got it, don't worry about it. There are times that I allow them to see me be fragile. I want them to know in their life, there's going to be times where hard times are going to come, challenges are going to come, obstacles are going to come. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have failures. Doesn't mean that you're a failure, doesn't mean that you're a mistake. And I don't want them to get so caught up in thinking that they've got to be right all the time that they don't bend. Because one of the things we know that when you run into problems and challenges, if you don't know how to lean, if you don't know how to bend, you break. And I don't want my children to break. And so I always tell them, whatever you run into, whatever challenges that you have, if you will stay on your knees, you will be able to stand tall on your feet. We have to know that there is a managing partner in our life. God, the comfort of knowing that I am not in this by myself and that my partner knows all, can do all, and does not fail. I don't ever worry about the challenges or the obstacles that I have anymore today, because I always tell them how big my managing partner is. If you want to try to come against me, you better bring it, because my managing partner is a bad, shut your mouth. You don't want, to try to deal with what I use, because my managing partner can overcome anything that you put in front of him. And that is why I say you can't do life alone. One of the things about also having a managing partner is reading the word that partner has already given us. When we spend time in the word, one of the things that we also learn is that God will put people in your place. He will put you in situations and circumstances for you to grow. Realize, as I talk about embracing weaknesses, any challenge that you have always is an opportunity. There is no challenge that you will ever come across that is not an opportunity. My brother-in-law likes to talk about turning obstacles into opportunities. Over the past couple of weeks, as we have rolled out Black Professionals Month, we have encountered a plethora of obstacles and challenges. Matter of fact, Johnny Lloyd is our speaker coordinator, and Johnny and I have had several conversations early morning, early morning, okay, and some late night, not too late, because I can't stay up that late anymore, getting up so early. But honestly, guys, we've had several conversations about challenges. And as a result of those challenges, we found an opportunity to not only overcome the obstacle, but actually to do something that was going to create a better process, to do something that was going to enable us to expand what we were doing. Embrace your challenges, embrace your obstacles. Many times when people say, if you want patience and you ask God to give you patience, God will give you challenges that will challenge you to be patient. And in that, He is helping you to grow. But if you don't pay attention to your life circumstances and stay connected to the managing partner in your life, you may find that you don't realize that what you thought came to trip you up actually came to make you stronger. And here's the thing that the old folks tell you: when God is trying to teach you something, if you don't learn it, he'll keep on teaching you. And if he's teaching you through some challenging circumstances and you're too whatever to learn what you're going through, God's cool. He's patient because he is here from the beginning of the time and he will be here to the end of time. He's got way more time than we do, and he can wait you out. He said, eventually my partner is going to figure it out, but it's up to us, to figure it out, hopefully sooner versus later. So at this point, I just want to stop and ask if anyone has any thoughts, comments, or questions that you want to share. And but I appreciate everyone is here, and I hope that maybe there's been one thing that has been said today that may help to either affirm, because I probably haven't told you anything that you didn't already know in some shape, form, or fashion. But the purpose for things like this sometimes is to remind us, to affirm us, and sometimes we get another way of looking at something that we've been looking at before that makes it easier or better for us to be able to accomplish that in our lives. So again, like I said, any thoughts, questions, or comments anybody has?
Okay, I was waiting. Johnny, go ahead. I was waiting for the icebreaker, but I guess I'll be that. Just, as you were going through, I was just reflecting on my week's devotion, and two of the scriptures came in. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and also his grace is sufficient, and his strength is made perfect in weakness. And I really like the thought of that. And if we can but understand the depth of those two scriptures, we'll be all right. As you're pointing out, once we seek God first, everything else that happens is okay. And when you were talking, I remember this this preacher who did a presentation, and he drew an outer circle and then he put an inner circle. And he said the inner circle is us and the outer circle is Christ himself, which means that anything touches us has to come through the outer to get to the inner. And we must understand that it's like you said, with the trials, the temptations, whatever's come, his grace is sufficient. So we have to embrace what we get in that inner circle. And if we have that picture all the time, we'll be giving praise all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Debbie.
That was great, Debbie. You have to remember that. I love that. Okay, so my thoughts was I saw the topic is, I knew the topic, and I was thinking, okay, and my mind was going to covenant agreement and how important partnership is. And in a partnership, there's an agreement, and our agreement was established before the foundation of time, right? So we're coming into this as a benefactor of an agreement that has already been established, and it's up to us. And I love the way you work that. It's up to us to let him be the managing partner. Like Debbie talked about the outer circle and the inner circle. We have to remember that we have the grace. His grace is sufficient. And so, so those were the things I was thinking of, because it really does matter who we are in partnership with, and reminding me personally that my partnership is with him and he's got me covered. So thank you.
Well, I really appreciate the comments by you two ladies. I remember as a boy being in church, and you hear again the old folks talk about joy, and I've got to be careful here, because I just realized if you get to a point in your life and you start talking about the old folks, how you relate to what they said, there might be something to that. So, all that means you get to be an old folk, but anyway, but they used to talk about joy, that joy that, surpasses understanding and just surpasses, what we, in our own world and space and, outside of the spirit. And man, God does give you joy, you know? I mean, I was um, I was watching a TV show recently called Madam Secretary. So some of you may be familiar with this show that was on called Madam Secretary. And I had never, well, I had watched it a couple of times when it was in its initial run on broadcast TV. And for some reason, maybe it conflicted with something else that I liked better or something. I don't know. I never really watched it. And about 6 months ago, I started watching it. And for whatever reason, my sleeping patterns have, gotten a little bit wacky in the past few years. And so I'll find myself waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I'll turn on the TV and watch it and then fall back off to sleep. I don't know, maybe some of the rest of you guys have experienced that before, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I started watching Madam Secretary. And so I think it's like 6 or 7 seasons of it. And so, with Netflix now, this whole binge watching thing. So I started, watching it on the weekends and so on and so forth. And the very last show, she had decided to run for president. And there was, they tried to impeach her. Okay. And some of the key elements of the show is that she was extremely smart, very personable, woman of integrity, and had vision. And boy, I tell you what, all of the things that the world really doesn't value, it seems for the most part. Okay. Those are kind of things that, yeah, people say, well, man, they really were good, but geez, in politics, that'll get you put out the pasture real quick, trying to do the right thing, being a visionary, having integrity, not necessarily all of the things that we think we're going to get you ahead in the political game. And so she had done that. And so there was a part, as I said, they were literally impeaching her for having really done the right thing. And the scene came where she was at home with her husband, and she made time for her family, which was another thing. And I was said, wait, what? You making time for you want a work-life balance as president? Are you kidding? But so there was a trial, and they had the hearing. And so after the hearing, they're waiting to find out, how the senators are going to vote. And based on some things that she had done recently, and the testimony that came out at the hearing that kind of vindicated her, people started showing up from all over the country to the lawn of the White House. And to the point that she's laying in bed with her husband, and they hear all this, kind of clamoring. They're kind of like, what is that? And they open up the window and they look out, and they could see off in the foreground, people. And they turn the TV on, and they see all these hundreds and thousands of people who had showed up to support her, and they found her innocent and she didn't get impeached. And it was a validation of the position that she had taken. There was a position of integrity and a vision of foresight, or a position of foresight and vision. And of course, it played out a whole lot better than I'm probably describing it. Okay. And to the point, as I sat there and I watched it, tears started coming down my eyes. And I'm kind of like, dude, what are you crying for? And I mean, I've never happened. And I realized that I could relate. If you've ever worked on something and given your all and just given it, and you keep giving it and you keep giving it, and sometimes you think like, man, is this ever going to really be what I'm working on? Man, I've had the experience, and I continue to go through some of that on levels today. And so when I saw that, I recognized that. And it's kind of interesting. Her husband was a theologian, And that was an interesting dynamic in the whole show, and how he had brought the faith into the White House by virtue of him, being a religious scholar. And so a part of what they were also going through had a tie-in as it related to faith. And so I say it to you guys in that your managing partner will make sure that your good works would not go unrewarded. Sometimes it may take a while, but if we persevere, if we stay, and we don't give up at 11:30 when the blessing is coming at midnight, we will get and do all that we want to. We're working toward, and we will be everything that we want to be. We just have to follow the managing partner. Don't do life alone. Get you a managing partner. And whoever else needs to be in your space, your managing partner will make sure that they show up at the right time. Not at your time, but at the right time. Matter of fact, you'll get a call one day from somebody when you've been kind of trying to figure out, man, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? And you think about, there's some people that I know that could probably help me with that. And then you get this call like, hey, Hutch, I've been thinking about you, and I'd like to see if I could help you do what you're doing with ICABA and grow this thing and move it on and fulfill your objectives with that. I didn't call and ask him to call me. He just called me. Something told him to call. I suspect it was probably my managing partner, And sometimes people show up from Virginia, have no idea. You see people joining your community every day. Something about this person to join, you're like, something about her. Gave her a call. Yeah, here's something about her. And we become good friends and, become, partners in what we're doing. God will make sure that whatever you need, you've got a vision, he's got the provision. Just make sure he's your managing partner. So thank you guys for being here. We're on Friday. Next Friday, Dr. Patrice Berry and Johnny Lloyd are going to be our presenters. Johnny, you want to give them a little clue as to what they can expect next Friday?
Yes, absolutely. Fun and fabulous faith. It's going to be amazing. We are very authentic. You will laugh. It will be engaging. And I want you to come expecting what you desire during this time as it relates to your faith in the midst of crisis, clarity, all of that. So prepare yourself for it. She's a amazing young lady, and you'll probably find out more than I want you to know about me. Because she's going to give up secrets. She has a tendency of just saying stuff, but it's going to be all good. So you'll get a window to see how our lives have walked out in faith and apply it to your life, because it's all about him, right? It's all about him. So please bring someone. Don't forget to get involved in all of this amazing things that's happening during the month. You don't want to miss any of this, and not just us, but the event itself. I'm just so full. I'm overflowed. So and I was sitting, y'all just look like y'all full. Y'all need to, talk. Stop playing with me. Talk. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Johnny. And everybody, I pray that you will have a wonderful weekend. We typically start in prayer, so I apologize we didn't do that. So I will at least clean it up and close in prayer. So precious Lord, I just thank you for this opportunity to share, to go into your word, and thank you for being my managing partner. Thank you for all that you do to lift me up, keep me in peace and comfort and confidence, knowing that faith in you is all I need to get by. So God, be with everyone, helping them to also remember to lean on you, and that you have their back, their front, their sides, and everything else. It's all in you. And God, we thank you for all of your grace, your mercy, and your blessings. These things we pray and ask through your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Hey, Hodge, I sent you an email. Check it out and let's talk.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
Debbie.
Hey, bye, everyone.
Carl.
Let's just one quick comment
Uh-huh.
on the idea of our managing partner.
Yeah.
It is also through a community like this, a community of believers, this perspectives that, and I will just say the opportunity to get a shot from Johnny Lloyd once a week and hear her perspective on her faith, her walk, and for so many others.
So sweet.
Every time I participate, and regardless of who is leading, whether it's on the chat, whether it's a perspective, it enriches my life and my relationship with my managing partner. So it's not just this community, but it serves a vital purpose. So thank you for facilitating these. It's good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Carl. You're
Thank you,
always
Carl.
powerful, enlightening, I serve a really empowering presence in my life. And also I know in the presence of many others who you touch on so many different ways. So your example and letting God to just shine through the things that you say and do, man, is very powerful.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Y'all have a good week, and I look forward to next week.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Glad to
Take
see
care.
you. I hope all is going well. I know we don't get a chance to, I guess you say chop it up as we say, but appreciate you being here for Faith Works today. And we hope to see you again. And Bernadette, how you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. Thanks for
Doing great. And
Yeah.
that was a great message, Pastor Hutch. Amen.
Call him out, Bernadette. Call him out.
Yes. I liked when you said, if you don't know how to bend, then you're a break,
that was
which is so true.
Yeah.
As you know, my pastor, he always said, you're strong on your knees and you're on your feet. So
Yep.
that's definitely, we always have to pray.
Yep.
All right, I enjoyed it. I'm going to try to make it back next week. I've been trying to get into it, but I finally made it. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
All
Hey,
right.
Bernadette, good to see you.
Hi, Denise. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Glad you made it.
Good to see you also.
Okay.
So y'all guys, you guys keep up the good work.
All
Thank
right.
Bless you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.